And we are live. This is the Canada Hoops Daily Podcast. My name is Sheldon Alexander. I'm joined, as always, by my dude, Mr. Andrew Webster. We have to, just do a little recap here because it's the NBA offseason. And no matter what, it's always crazy. I feel like even this year, where people thought, Shams was predicting, Windhorse was predicting, hey, it's going to be an insane NBA offseason. And then it really kind of wasn't. And then all of a sudden, oh, all right, here's the NBA. How have you enjoyed the last week of just wildness, which we'll get into on a lot of different fronts?
Anytime you can get a player hopping on Twitter to throw up a GIF reaction to something that just happened in their career with their team is always good. That Dame Lillard with the Jack Black in what's the movie? The Luchador movie, to a clip from Ramona Shelburne on ESPN. When that kind of stuff is happening, you know that the NBA offseason has really kicked into high gear. I mean, we had from July 1st, we had some really boring transactions going on here until the Myles Turner thing kind of kicked things in gear. And now we're starting to hear, hey, there could be other things that happen here in the next day or two. We both have Twitter up and keeping it refreshed on Shams's page because who knows? I think I kind of touched on it, and it's really picked up a lot of steam. Is LeBron James going to be on the Lakers come September?
We'll get to LeBron because LeBron, there's a lot there for sure. But first off, I want to say thank y'all to everyone tuning into the podcast and have been enjoying the pod on Apple, Spotify, or of course, YouTube. Of course, search Canada Hoops Daily there. And on YouTube, it's Sheldon Alexander. You'll find all the videos there and all the added content. Social media accounts, Canada Hoops Daily, all that fun stuff. Again, follow, and subscribe. Rate us, review us, all that fun stuff. Get into my man Andrew Webster's mentions at aWebster84. And, hey, we're here to break things down. I think because this is a Canada Hoops Daily podcast, we got to start off with the MVP of the regular season, MVP of the finals, MVP of the country, MVP of the world. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander re-signed with Oklahoma City for a record-setting 4-year, $285 million supermax extension. That is a supermax. This is $71.3 million per year, surpassing your boy Joel Embiid, by the way, who was 64.3, which is just incredible, by the way. Making Shai the highest paid NBA player in history on a per year basis. I just wanted to start there and give a salute to Shai as the year of Shai continues. Big salute there. His cousin, keeping it in the family, also signed a 4-year, $62 million deal with the Atlanta Hawks. Are the Hawks actually good? We'll get to
Atlanta Hawks. They're
doing some stuff.
Putting some things together.
They're doing some things. And from good news in a Canadian angle to some bad news again, touched on it last week. Raptors and Masai Ujiri part ways. Definitely the biggest loss in free agency, if you ask me, so far.
I don't
Did
know.
a full pod last week.
Hold on. Look at the Raptors lineup and how much they have invested in the current lineup right now. Is this a bad thing for the Raptors to kind of reset on the front office that you currently have?
Anytime you're losing Masai Ujiri, it's not a good thing.
I'm just saying, listen, 2019 is a long time ago.
For sure. Well, then the next question would be, do you trust going forward with the Toronto Raptors without Masai Ujiri at the helm? And we don't know who that president's going to be.
That's the only problem.
We don't know, right? So time will tell there for sure. They also signed Jakob Poeltl because clearly they really, 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 really like Jakob Poeltl. So that's back.
What I thought this pod was about, was the Poeltl extension.
Right? Poeltl extension. Keep your vet in Garrett Temple. Cool. All great things. The Raptors, lots of time to talk about the Raptors. And I feel that there's another move that has to happen because I don't think this can be their roster going forward. Like, I just don't think it makes much sense
I don't
together.
know how much other money you have to pay.
There's some trades to be made. There's some trades to be made for sure. That RJ Barrett contract, which is expiring, you're not going to let him just walk with no money, and you don't have the money to re-sign him. So something's got to give, right? Like RJ Barrett entering the last year of a deal, you can't re-sign him without trading somebody else, because you already re-up Scotty, you already re-up Brandon Ingram, you already re-up Manuel quickly, and now Jakob Poeltl. So something's got to give, right? So I feel like there's another move on the way. So tons of time to talk about the Toronto Raptors. But if we stay in the Eastern Conference, clearly the big talk is what's going on with the Milwaukee Bucks. Because once again, I'll get through the particulars first. The first thing pops up where it says, hey, Myles Turner is going to the Milwaukee Bucks. And everyone's kind of stunned because it's like, wait a second, how's Myles Turner going to Milwaukee Bucks? They have no money, but they agreed to a 4-year, $107 million contract. But then the next news to trickle out was that the Milwaukee Bucks have waived Damian Lillard. And everyone's just like, this came out of nowhere. In a league where we consistently say nothing should surprise us, somehow, some way, the NBA finds a way to surprise us. And I'm sure Damian Lillard being waived was a huge surprise to you, no?
That's it. It's an NFL move. That's what it reminded me of. In the NBA, very rarely will you just waive a player. Mm-hmm. But now with the new CBA and the way the contracts work, I guess we're going to see this more, that you can waive guys to get the money off your book.
So essentially, yeah. Basically, the move means that they're going to take Damian Lillard's cap hit, which was $54 million, and they're going to free it up so that it only becomes you stretch it over the next 5 years. So you're taking
right.
Yeah. So it's waive and stretch is what it's called technically. Mm-hmm. So what it becomes is your dead cap for the next 5 years is going to be $22.5 million. Instead of paying Damian Lillard $54 million next year, you're freeing up over $30 million of cap room, and that's how they're able to get Myles Turner. So, I mean, the biggest question, so you're surprised about this, right? Because you're right. We don't really see this in the NBA at all.
Especially with a name like Damian Lillard. I mean, obviously coming off the Achilles injury and the blood clots, the scary situations he's had, but also he's getting a little bit older. But Dame Lillard is still a name in the league and still a face of the league. So, yeah, it was surprising you don't see players get waived in the NBA and very much. And you certainly don't see a player like Dame Lillard getting waived.
No, it's totally strange there. And then the next question obviously filters over to Giannis, right? Because, yeah, there's a shock of, hold on a second, Dame Lillard getting waived. You obviously have to run that by Giannis, right? Like, there's no way that happens without Giannis being on board or Giannis being aware that this is happening. And so the assumption has to be you've brought this to Giannis and you're selling him on the fact, hey, we're still trying to keep competitive next year and moving forward. And we can't really do that with this Dame Lillard cap hit next year. And then we don't even know, well, he's not going to play next year. But on top of that, what's he going to look like on the other end of this? Right. So do we just try to just turn it over now, bring in Myles Turner, who's a younger version of Brook Lopez, essentially, right? I would say better, but I don't even really know what that means. Like, this move doesn't make the Bucks good. I think it's just more so a sign to Giannis that, like, hey, we're trying to do something here. We're trying to get you help. What do you think this move signals to Giannis from the Milwaukee Bucks?
I think that it's kind of a short-sighted move, not a long-term move. Obviously, the Milwaukee Bucks franchise kind of, in my opinion, rightly, is going to do everything they can to keep Giannis happy for the next year or two and are not worried about the team in the next 4 or 5 years down the road. But even that being said, like, I don't think the Bucks are going to be very good at all. And halfway through the year, Giannis, who knows? Halfway through the year, he might demand a trade. It's the NBA. We don't know, but it may not be enough to keep him around.
Yeah, it's tough, right? Because at the end of the day, Giannis doesn't strike us as, I mean, he's had every opportunity already to kind of let them know if his move out was going to be a thing, if he was going to demand a trade. There's been moments where we've thought that was going to happen and then it doesn't happen. And if it's not happening right now and they come to him and say, hey, this is what we're going to do with Dame, to me, Giannis had to be okay with this move that, we're going to try to compete for this season, because he was the one that wanted Dame Lillard in the first place, right? So maybe that experiment obviously didn't go as well as planned. I wonder what Doc is thinking, right? As Doc is always an interesting character in this scenario, as well as all the funny memes about who's going to be the Knicks head coach, where people were putting out Doc tried to put his name in and
they said no.
They said no. Like, all those funny memes were hilarious. But in reality, like, Doc plays an interesting role in this, because I'm sure that he has some say, but Doc also isn't going to be sitting here trying to coach a team next year that's not trying to win. So I feel like there's a lot of different things happening at the same time. And plus, they still need a point guard. There's got to be a way for them to try to make a move somehow and get someone in there that's just serviceable to make a move, right? That's one team that reeks of desperation, we'll say, because the East is wide open and they think, hey, if we can just patchwork something around Giannis that's at least decent, we're in the mix. And if they're in the mix, is that enough?
I don't even know if
Giannis
they're going to be in the mix.
I mean, listen, I don't think that they have enough as currently constituted, but I do think that they need, if you tell me they're able to somehow get a point guard of some sort, I don't know what that caliber would be, but like right now you're talking, personally, I would try to flip Kyle Kuzma and get like 2 players that could help me just to make my team a little deeper. But right now you can't go into the season with Kevin Porter Jr. as your starting point guard. And then you got Gary Trent Jr., Kuzma, Giannis, and Myles Turner, with Bobby Portis coming off the bench. You still have Taurean Prince, like, I don't know, Gary Harris and AJ Green. Like, there's not a lot there, right?
No.
So I would try to flip Kuzma and see if I can get 2 depth pieces from someone.
I don't think you're going to have a ton of people knocking at your door for Kuzma.
You're totally right about that. And that's kind of why they're in this position where they're a little bit stuck. But now you're going forward with $20 million on your dead cap every single season going forward. Like, that's, I don't know. It's just a crazy, crazy time there.
For me, I don't know, but like, yes, Giannis is amazing and he's won a championship and he's one of the best 3 players in the league year in and year out. But if you're Milwaukee, like, this is a car veering off the side of the road down a cliff. We all see it. If you've been paying attention for the NBA in the past 5, 10, 15, 20, we all know what's going to happen. Why didn't they just try and get the best deal? Why?
You can't trade Giannis. If you're the Milwaukee Bucks, okay?
Why not?
The Milwaukee Bucks have been relevant how many times in our lifetime, okay? You could maybe twice, maybe
2?
3 times. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. The Giannis years, and then go back to the Big Dog Robinson and Ray Allen's teams. Like, I guess Michael Redd had like a glimmer at some point where he was like okay for a couple seasons before he got hurt. But
who was the guy?
Michael
Sanders. Larry Sanders.
Come on. Now you're stretching. But this proves a point. You're the Milwaukee Bucks, so you finally have Giannis Antetokounmpo. You have a guy. You cannot get rid of him until he comes to you and says, I want to trade. Until then, I'm doing everything. No. He's come to you and begged for you to make the team better, which you have. You got Drew Holiday. You won a championship. Then he asked again. You got Dame Lillard. It didn't really work out, but you made moves in lockstep with him trying to make it work. If I'm Milwaukee, I am not trading Giannis until Giannis tells me that he wants to be traded, because I still need to sell tickets. I still need, to have people walking around in jerseys of Giannis. And if I just trade him for, I don't know, Jabari Smith Jr., I'm trying to get Amen Thompson. Like, that's not putting, butts in the seat.
It's the picks. It's, you do what Oklahoma City did. You try and build up a stash of these picks. And so you can start moving and grooving and find these players, not necessarily through the draft, but you could package picks for younger players to bring in, guys that you've scouted, guys that you know you can develop, and then the jerseys will come organically, okay? Because otherwise, they're going to be wearing a Tetacupo jerseys, but he's going to be gone anyway. Like, he's going to be gone anyway.
But this is what I'm saying.
He's going to be on the Bucks past in 365 days. Do you believe that Giannis will be a Milwaukee Buck in a year, July 3rd, 2026? Will he still be on the Bucks?
I say yes. Because I just think Giannis, I think if he wanted out, he would have just said so already. And we just haven't gotten to that point. And I think that as long as you put a team around him, you let him know that you're trying to improve, I think he's okay. Like, he's going to go out there and do everything he can. And at some point, the NBA is a weird place. There could be some other move that just hasn't happened yet. And then all of a sudden things flip and everything changes. But it's funny here because I'm going to compare what's going on with Giannis to what's going on with another star in the league. And that would be your man's LeBron James. Okay. So LeBron opts in to his contract, his player option for next season, which is worth $52.6 million. It's
a lot for a guy who's our age.
Year 23 in the NBA, the first ever 23 season career in the NBA. But it's not even the fact that he opts in. Okay, cool. You're going to opt in for $52 million. Cool. But it's what happened after that, in which his agent, Rich Paul, puts out into the media, releases a statement basically saying that LeBron wants a realistic shot at another championship, and this season will be judged by the front office moves. Essentially, Rich Paul and LeBron trying to force the Lakers into, how do I phrase this? Making every move possible to try to win a championship next season, despite the fact that they don't need to do that because Luka's on a different timeline than LeBron, and this isn't LeBron's team anymore. Just where from there, what is LeBron doing, and how does this make any sense?
LeBron is trying to get out of Los Angeles. He's trying to,
You think LeBron's trying to get out of LA?
Yeah.
So hold on. Why opt in?
To get the $52 million.
Hold on. But
I think that if he opts out and becomes a free agent, I don't think that any team would be shilling out $52 million to sign a 41-year-old LeBron James.
Other teams also don't have 52 mil like in cap space to give LeBron.
But there are other players out there that are making close to that much money that could be an interesting piece of the puzzle of getting LeBron to their team.
Would you trade LeBron for Joel Embiid? Oh, look at this guy thinking.
Because the way that the roster is currently constructed, I don't think you would.
Okay. Just
checking. Then you would have no. But would you trade Karl Anthony Towns for LeBron James? Karl Anthony Towns currently makes around 40.
Here's my issue with that. Issue with that. If I'm the Knicks, any team that like you're buying into LeBron Inc. and everything that goes on with LeBron Inc. And I don't know that if I'm the Knicks right now, what you're building with Jalen Brunson, like this is gonna sound weird. I don't know if I want to mess with that for like 1 year of LeBron. For like everything you do to run through LeBron. I don't know if Knicks fans really want that smoke. Like Lakers fans barely wanted that smoke when LeBron was coming to the Lakers, right? And it's like, I get that it's LeBron, but LeBron comes with a lot. And I know that LeBron James still puts up solid numbers, but recognize real. LeBron got cooked in the finals last year, or not in the finals, in the first round last year by Julius Randle.
Yeah.
Right? Like there's a reason why the Lakers lost last year. And as unfair as it is to critique LeBron, who still was putting in work in year 22, the reality is they needed a lot more from LeBron, probably on the defensive end, and Luka for them to win. Like when you look at this Lakers team, LeBron, Luka, and we'll get to DeAndre Ayton in a second, but Austin Reeves, like there's enough there for the Lakers to be able to win a round in the playoffs, or should be. So now if I'm the other team trying to bring LeBron into the fold, it's like, that's 50 something $million. Is he putting you over the hump because I got to send out something else to get LeBron that's worth $52 million or close to? This to me is just all LeBron wanting to have his cake and eat it too. He wants everything. Because if you wanted to win a ring, opt out and then go sign with the team that you're going to get paid whatever, take the vet minimum or take whatever that team can offer.
And go to Houston or
go to the Knicks even, right? And jump on that way for whatever, but you don't want to do that. You want it to get paid and also win a championship in LA.
That doesn't make business sense for the brand.
It doesn't. Why would you
pass up $50 million? You're LeBron James. You probably can force your way into a different situation.
Listen, man, you and I are very familiar. You and I am very familiar with a certain rapper that had a song called "What Means the World to You." Shouts to Killer Cam. Okay. Yep. LeBron, what means the world to you? Is it rings? Is it the money? You just told us it's the money, right? So I'm not going to knock you for opting into $52 million. Of course you're going to opt in. That's $50 million. Who's walking away from that? But you don't also get to then turn around and think you're going to tell the Lakers, hey, you have to give up every single asset to give us the best chance to win a championship this season when, hello, you yourself and your play brings a huge factor into whether or not they're going to win a championship. And last year, you didn't do enough. To me, it's almost like LeBron's just salty. Like, take your 52 mil and it's like, retire after next season, bro. LeBron just seems mad all the time now, right? And I don't get it. Everything from LeBron is just salty. Like, why does LeBron need to do a podcast complaining about whatever's going on in the NBA and complaining about ring culture as if he wasn't the one that left and went to Miami and said, not one, not two, not three, not like you're the one that did that. Nobody told you to do that. It's just so strange to me. All of this is really weird. Do you have anything else on LeBron? LeBron Inc.
See, that's the thing. It's that LeBron Inc. that makes me think that New York is the fit.
So you think he's out? You think this is a move that, like, he's setting the stage for
based on what we think we know he wants, which is another legitimate shot at the title. There are two teams that make sense. Mm-hmm. Both of them play in the East. One is the Knicks and the other is the Cavs. Now, I don't know what the Cavs have that they could flip to LA to make the salaries work. I don't think that they have it, which leads New York, who does have flexibility in terms of contracts and getting stuff to LA that they would deem worthy of adding for LeBron James.
Yeah, the Cavs are an interesting one, right? Because I mean, they have pieces to make it work, but also I feel like if you're the Cavs and you're looking at the Eastern Conference, you're thinking, why do we need to do anything? We can just keep our same team that we have now, and we should be competing to win the Eastern Conference next year with the same team that we have. Why do you need to risk it and get involved in the business of LeBron for 1 year when, like, we don't need to do that?
Quite honestly, this Cavaliers team, even though they are the betting favorite to win the East next year, and the East is low, quite frankly, we've seen them choke.
Does LeBron, because you'd have to give up, you would assume, Garland, Jared
Allen, and maybe a bench guy or
in picks or something. I don't know, something along that way. But like, is that team? And I'm saying this, and I know it sounds crazy. Is that team better with Donovan Mitchell,
LeBron,
Evan Mobley, and LeBron? Yeah, I don't know if that team's better
in the East this year. I think.
Like, again, LeBron is still good, and this sounds like I'm dissing LeBron. His numbers are still dope. He still puts in work. When you're talking about the teams that we saw succeed last season, we're talking about teams that were deep, teams that were young, and teams that play defense. None of those things apply to LeBron James at this point.
No,
because you're giving up depth to get him.
But
you're giving up depth to get him, and he doesn't play defense.
He doesn't. But the Cavaliers are a pretty good defensive team. Okay. They're pretty young.
Yeah. Fairly young. Yeah. I just wouldn't do it. If I'm the Cavs, you finally built up something in the post-LeBron era that should sustain you with at least some regular season success for multiple years to come. I don't need to get into the LeBron business again for 1 year to disrupt what we've spent so much time building already. Like, you built it, you got Donovan Mitchell to come, you got Donovan Mitchell to still be there. Like, why do you need to bring LeBron in now? I just wouldn't do it. But the other team that you didn't mention that would be funny would be if LeBron somehow ended up on the Mavs, which that would just be hilarious. But I don't think that would actually happen.
Think the league, if that happened, with what's happened over the last like 6 months with Nico, like the people would be they'd never live it down in terms of like they get Cooper Flag and LeBron, but lose Luka, who's on the Lakers.
Yeah,
I don't know. What would Dallas have to give up? I mean, do they?
They have pieces to make the contracts match.
So then he'd be back with Kyrie.
But I think they said. I'm seeing a quote from Dave McMenamin, who says, Dallas, I'm told, they would only be interested in LeBron in a buyout situation. Which also begs a question, is LeBron just trying to get bought out? Right?
They buy him out?
Imagine. They buy out LeBron James. They're like, here's your $52 million, but just get out of here. We're out of the LeBron business. We'll take the money and do something else.
Completely free agent.
Free agent, goes wherever he wants.
Goes to Oklahoma City.
Signs wherever he wants because he's getting his $52 million and then can just sign for the league minimum or whatever vet minimum. He's getting all his money, LeBron Inc., and gets to win a championship. Is that the Jedi mind trick he's trying to pull? Or is he trying to chill in LA with Deandre Ayton, the new center brought in by the Los Angeles Lakers? What do you make of the DeAndre Ayton edition?
Why? I guess he's just the last name. The music stopped in musical chairs, and
you could put him on a meme. You could put him on a picture photoshopped with Luka and LeBron, and it, as much as it's funny, you could still do it, right? Like,
is that worse than the what was it? Steve Nash, Dwight Howard, and Kobe? That
was a tough one.
That was a tough look.
But DeAndre Ayton comes in. Is there a world in which you think, you're getting him on a cheap deal because obviously you're splitting the salary with the Sun or with Portland, pardon me.
With Portland, yeah.
So you're splitting the salary, so you're getting him on a cheap deal.
Bad omen right away. That Portland's ready to be like, yeah, we'll pay half the salary. You can take him.
I mean, is there a chance though? You put him with Luka, you put him with LeBron. Like, I know people have questioned his motor. People have questioned his lack of intensity. Is there enough will there? Not things that you want to hear, right?
No, especially not in Los Angeles too. Like he's played in Portland and in Phoenix. Am I missing anywhere else, or is it just Portland?
No? That's it, just there, yeah.
And then it's like, okay, this guy who has obviously like, I don't know, not
there's some talent there.
Yeah, of course. He was number 1 overall pick, I think.
Yep.
I mean, he's got talent, but now you're going to be like, okay, this is where you're going to mature. Los Angeles, California. This is where you're going to put it all. I don't know, man. I don't know.
It's funny because the funniest DeAndre Ayton story is still when they had the snowstorm and he was at his house and he's like, I'm not coming to the game. And they like sent someone to pick him up and he still didn't come to the game. And it's like, what? Like, how is that?
Icy,
like, the NBA is not a real place, right? Like,
it's too icy out here for me.
I'm not leaving the crib. It's too icy. That's insane.
and what we're talking about this, that's why I keep thinking that LeBron is going to force his way out of there. He knows there is no chance that the Lakers are going to put together a championship level team, not in the West, not with the way that Oklahoma City looks, not the way that Houston has put their roster together, not the way that Denver has done so much in this offseason to make them better. And Minnesota is going to be just as good as they were last year. And now you're bringing in Deandre Ayton to Los Angeles, and you're like, this is the way that we're going to win the West. Like, I just don't see LeBron Inc. signing up for this.
All I can say is the Lakers are always, I know people crush, the first take culture for always talking about the Lakers, but I got to say, next year with LeBron, Luka, JJ Redick, and DeAndre Ayton, that's might be one of the better scripts out in Hollywood next year for sure. Because there's no way that works, right? Like, there's no way there's not a blow up somehow. Like, so DeAndre Ayton couldn't get along with Chauncey Billups, who obviously is a former player. Chauncey seems pretty calm and cool.
Yeah.
And Chauncey was like, you know what, young fellow, we're going to sit you out here. We're going to roll with the kids. We don't need you anymore. As if he's old, which
right. We're going to go
old,
with the kids.
Right. And it's like, all right, DeAndre Ayton, get out of here. And now JJ Redick's going to be the one to figure it out with DeAndre Ayton. JJ might, I'm knocking on wood, have a heart attack on the sidelines trying to get DeAndre Ayton to hustle and play hard and box out and rebound. Like, none of these things are good traits for an NBA player when you have to struggle with their motivation. That's not
Get
good.
ready for all the screen caps of LeBron reacting to what DeAndre Ayton is doing, whether it be on the court or on the bench, because there's going to be a ton of them.
Oh, yeah, it's going to be great. But you mentioned some of those other teams in the West, and the West, they're loading up. Obviously, the Houston Rockets, we talked about them on a few pods ago where we talked about, obviously, they got Kevin Durant. But since then, they've also added Clint Capella. They re-signed Jabari Smith Jr. They got Dorian Finney-Smith. They're making moves out there in Houston. And then not just Houston, but the Denver Nuggets, somehow they turned Michael Porter Jr. into Cam Johnson, which saves them like $17 million a year. Insane. They turned Dario Saric into Jonas Valanciunas. They brought in Bruce Brown. They brought in Tim Hardaway Jr. I'm going to ask you, Webby, two-part question here. The Nuggets or the Houston Rockets, who are you banking on more just based off their offseason moves? Is it the Rockets or is it the Nuggets? Or are you just like, I don't know, both these teams are dope. Both teams made great moves.
Both teams are good. Both teams are great. I guess player-wise, you go with Denver. Obviously, Denver took Oklahoma City to 7 games in the playoffs, but ultimately we're relying way too much on young, unproven guys with a kind of coaching situation that was really in flux, and firing Mike Malone just a couple of weeks before the playoffs is crazy. And yet they still took Oklahoma City to 7 games. Now what they've done is really shored up the roster, brought in adults to the room, brought back Bruce Brown, having Tim Hardaway Jr., not the best guy, but not scared, has seen it. Same with Jonas Valanciunas. I think a guy who can really do a lot with Jokic not on the floor in that position is a really good idea. And then the other thing that, I was just reading that they hired Jared Dudley as like one of their lead assistants. They brought in somebody else as a lead, another big assistant to help with the coaching staff. I think that's really, really smart. Kind of, like I say, bringing adults into the room there. But then again, with Houston, you have Ime Udoka and the culture that he's built. So if I was going to go down to those two, I'd probably say that Denver has done the most completely in the offseason right now to improve where they left off. I think going into the playoffs next year, if it kind of holds serve the way we think it's going to, I think that Denver is going to be the biggest threat to knocking Oklahoma City off their perch.
Yeah, I mean, I tend to agree with you, right? Because obviously Kevin Durant is the best addition made by the Houston Rockets and the best addition made of any team as one of the top players in the league still. But I think, though, the biggest issue, right? In terms of filling a gap of what's the biggest needs were. Yes, the Rockets needed a closer. They get that in Kevin Durant. Cool. I get that. They have some depth pieces. They made some moves there. But in terms of what the Nuggets did, watching Jokic in the playoffs last year was just a reminder of you cannot waste any more seasons of Nikola Jokic at the level that he's at right now. And bringing in Cam Johnson, who, if you compare the player to player, right? You'd rather have Cam Johnson. Michael Porter Jr. obviously deals with a lot more injuries. Yep. Cam Johnson's a lot more reliable in terms of just being available, but also on a lesser contract. So all of those things already fit perfectly. I also think there's more to Cam Johnson's game in terms of just, yes, he's a 3-point shooter, but he can also at least like drive the ball, make some moves off the dribble, drive, get all the way to the lane. He's a bit of a better defender than Michael Porter Jr. as well. I just think he's just a more solid piece. And, you know, Bruce Brown coming in, Hardaway Jr., that's more about guys just not being afraid in the moment. You saw Denver, they couldn't go to their bench for long stretches last year because there just wasn't enough there that you knew what you were going to get consistently. At least Tim Hardaway Jr., you know he's not going to be afraid to shoot. He's not going to be afraid of the moment. Nothing's going to be too big. Bruce Brown's been there, done that with that team. He can fill in at the backup point guard spot. He can fill in for even when Aaron Gordon goes to the bench. Like, you're just filling out, I know that I can play these 7 guys. I think that's a huge factor for the Nuggets. In terms of the Rockets, though, I mean, this is a close one. Like, I'm picking the Nuggets. I'm with you. But what the Rockets did has also been great. Because what they've done, they've added so much versatility to their team, right? You got Kevin Durant there. You got Clint Capella there. Capella can fit in, and now you have multiple options at your center spot, right? You have multiple options at different lineups that you can play, but also signing Jabari Smith Jr. to such a good, solid contract, you still leave room there that if someone decides they do want to get traded, you could still put together a pretty good package and have movable pieces with some of your young bucks if you do need to go get Giannis, or you do need to go get, I don't think they want to get LeBron, but you know what I mean? Like, if that were a thing. So the Rockets are still the most interesting team to me, but I'm the most happy for the Denver Nuggets because they just did something where I think most people didn't think it was possible for them to improve on their roster. And they definitely did that. Right. Yeah. And you assume Jokic is going to be good again. So you need to put the pieces around him.
Based on last year, they didn't need to go as far to get where they wanted to go as Houston did. Houston, it seemed like, had to do quite a bit more in the offseason, which it looks like they've done to get to where they want to be in competing for that Western Conference championship. Whereas Denver, like I say, they came within a game. Now they got blown out in Game 7, but they came within a game of unseating Oklahoma City. And so I don't think that they had to do too much to get over that hump. But like you say, with what they've done, it looks like they've smashed that little bit that they needed to get out of the park.
Yeah, and another just like housekeeping kind of move that I think is kind of big. We touched on the Dallas Mavericks. They picked up D'Angelo Russell, who obviously can start for them until Kyrie comes back. Yeah. D'Angelo Russell, it's just, this is going to sound weird, but D'Angelo Russell is the kind of move that if I were the Bucks, I would have been trying to bring in D'Angelo Russell just as someone who can play point guard for me, right? Like, I get that, because you don't need that much from him. You just need a warm body, essentially, to be able to do something for you, right? And maybe can you handle some minutes when Giannis is on the bench? Okay, D'Lo, you want to go on your heat check? I wouldn't advise for that, but he's better than the options that they currently have.
Yeah.
And I think this is obviously way more perfect for the Mavs because you're just trying to plug holes until Kyrie comes back, right? That's a pretty good replacement to have for, the first half of the season or however long it takes for Kyrie to be healthy again. Any other moves or any other teams that you wanted to touch on just in terms of what just happened this offseason? I don't need to really dive into the Hawks or anything like that.
Well, the other thing is that we need to talk about maybe a little bit is what the Hawks did to the New Orleans Pelicans.
Okay.
With this trade that they made during draft day, where they got an unprotected pick from New Orleans that Atlanta's front office was so confused. Like, they were like, are you really offering us this unprotected pick? They went back and forth like 4 or 5 times to confirm it, even calling Joe Dumars, who's in charge of New Orleans, and being like, hey, are you sure about this unprotected pick? And they were like, yeah, absolutely, take it. They're like, okay.
Was that the pick they wanted to trade up for to take Derek Queen? Is that what it was?
Yes.
Yeah.
To take Derek Queen.
You know what the interesting part is? I think Joe Dumars is just an old school dude where it's like, what's a draft pick? If I think, and you have to remember too, Derek Queen, the background on him, like it's a highly touted prospect a year ago going into college, right? And so a lot of times you'll have a lot of GMs and their philosophy will just be, hey, I think that's a blue chip prospect. This guy's fallen in the draft. I'm doing everything. He's still available. We're sniffing around. I'm going to jump up and do it. And I understand that philosophy, right? If you're just trying to hit one of the players that was high on your board and he's fallen, I get that. That was like that. Was it Cedric Coward, the guy with Memphis moving up in the draft as well? Like that's just another, example of, hey, we had a guy on our board and we're going to move up to get him.
Does Derek Queen not play the exact same position and same role as Zion Williamson?
Does Zion Williamson play any position or any role on the court? Like, I don't know.
The only other name I'll put out there is Trendon Watford, going from Brooklyn to the Sixers. Okay. All I will say is just fire up a little bit of Trendon Watford highlights on YouTube. This guy has the most unorthodox floater finisher in the lane. Like, I was perplexed by this guy's kind of like, it's such a weird release from, inside the foul line. He could be good. Who knows?
Okay.
Keeping Quentin Grimes is a good idea. Losing Yabusele. See, the other thing is like,
shouts to Yabusele.
The Knicks made some really good moves with getting Jordan Poole and Yabusele. Like that.
No, it wasn't Jordan Poole. The Knicks didn't get Jordan Poole.
Who did they get?
The Knicks got Jordan Clarkson.
Jordan Clarkson. That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah. Jordan Clarkson. But Jordan Clarkson.
Kind of the same dude.
but kind of what they needed.
Yeah.
Like with the way that Mitchell, what's his first name?
Well, replacing the minutes that you're giving DeLon Wright and Landry Shamet magically in the playoffs, right? It's like, oh, Jordan Clarkson.
Actual NBA players.
Yeah.
So I thought those were good moves. And check out Trendon Watford's finish in the lane. It's like, it's weird, but it could be good. Who knows?
Okay. All right. I got one last question for you that doesn't have anything to do with the NBA.
Yes.
My question is, did you watch this season of The Bear?
I have not watched this season of The Bear yet.
Okay.
I have not. Have you crushed the whole thing?
Yes.
Okay. Give me your reaction. Sell me on, because I wasn't going to watch it because I thought season 3 was such a letdown.
Oh, okay.
This is something that I like. I love The Bear. It's awesome that they make it. The people in it are amazing. But I thought season 3 was so weak that honestly, I fired up the trailer for season 4 and it was like, it seems like more of the same. Like, just, Carmi's a bad dude and he's intense and he's making people angry, but they're a family. And it's like, okay, we got it. Like,
if you didn't season 3, you're not going to like season 4. And I think I enjoyed season 4, but I feel like it's one of those things. The reason why Succession was perfect was because Succession ended at the right time. They could have made way more seasons of Succession, right?
Mm-hmm.
But like, you would have been grasping at straws. You kind of would have been repeating some of the same old song and dance between the characters.
Right.
But Succession ended and it left you wanting more. What happens with certain TV shows is I think they go on for so long that they start doing the TV tricks, right? And what I mean by that is season 4 kind of ends in a spot where you're like, oh, they did this because they don't really know what's going to happen next. So they left it open-ended. So if, my guy becomes such a big superstar after this Bruce Springsteen movie comes out and he's not available to come back for next season of The Bear, well, we can just have it in a way where he'll just be in a couple scenes. We'll write him in here and there, and he'll be there for a bit.
But it won't be his show anymore.
Exactly, right? They kind of leave it open-ended where, like, you don't know what's going to happen, but it can go in either way. He could come back and everything's the same, and he's still the star of the show and all that. But, like, they did the TV trick where it's just like, you just did a season, but you didn't really, like, do anything. Yeah, you didn't really do anything.
Yeah.
But
that's what I thought about the last season.
I will say, though, and follow me here for a sec, I feel like the Bear speaks to this generation of society in which people are just, like, upset. People are going through it. People are depressed. People are angry. People are talking about, like, everybody's life's complicated. Everybody's life's a little messed up, but people are more open about talking about it now. And I feel like the Bear tries to be reflective of that. Now, is that something that you want to watch to get away from your life? That is all of that. That's a whole other question. But I feel like they did a good job in trying to depict kind of where people are in society right now, where people are open to talking about their problems, talking about their depression, talking about, or trying to find out what's wrong with them and trying to seek said help, and looking at work-life balance and how do you balance all of that, and should work be your life, like all of those things. I think they did a good job in trying to depict that. Like, what is the point of all this?
Mm-hmm.
But again, maybe that's not what you want from your entertainment. Maybe it was a lot more fun just watching them yell at each other all the time, every episode in the kitchen. Do you know what I mean?
I think I'll still check it out just because we're in this, like, kind of soft period of TV and stuff.
And it's mostly half-hour watches.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's never a big ask to get into a Bear season. Even like the third season, I didn't like, but I still watched it. Well,
it's because when they still hit their highs,
it's good. Yeah,
it's really good, right? Like when they have their moments and they hit you, you catch yourself on the couch with the sniffles there, Like, they hit you, right? They hit you with some moments, and they still do that where it's like, okay, that's why this show is so good.
But is there any episode as good as the one where Cousin learns to be the maitre d' in the second season, and it ends with him singing the Taylor Swift song?
They try.
That is one of the best episodes of TV.
They try a couple times, right? Like that episode and the episode where they focus in on Tina. Was that in season 3?
that was season 3. That was the best episode.
That was an amazing episode as well, right? Where they deep dive into like the characters' lives. They try that.
Yeah.
It doesn't hit that same height, but I don't know if you could hit that same height. That was Forks, right?
Forks.
That was Forks.
That was just. I don't know. That one had the living room a little dusty.
Yeah. They try a couple times, and there's some moments where it's like, yes, this is why this is such high level television, but it doesn't all the way hit. What else have you watched or have you been watching since the NBA is over?
It's funny that you bring up Succession and you bring up like the kind of time that we're living in now. Have you watched the movie that the Succession guy did? It's on Crave. It's called Mountainhead.
I saw the trailer for it. I haven't watched it because I just feel like it's going to make me mad.
Okay. Yeah.
Not because it's a bad show or a bad movie, but because it's just telling us about our society right now. And it's
very much in the same way that the Bear really is like holding up a mirror to what we're going through. Mountainhead is the same way. 4 of the richest people in America get together, just as one of them has like launched all this crazy content tools for a social media platform, and like they're getting together for like a poker weekend, and society around them is crumbling. And so I don't know if I can recommend it as like, oh, this is an amazing movie that but it's the guy who did Succession doing a 2-hour story, so that in itself should get you in. It's a lot of like, hey, are you seeing what's going on their phones? But it's a lot of great lines back and forth and that kind of cringe feeling that you get watching Succession. And then it kind of takes like a very like weird and funny turn, which I really like. But who's the guy? Rami Youssef. Do you know who Rami Youssef is?
Yeah.
He is in this, and he's been in a couple of films and a couple of movies, and I didn't really love his acting or whatever. And I saw he was in this. He is so good.
Okay.
And like makes me want to watch more of his like stand up or more what he does. I thought he was awesome. And just like, again, if you like Succession at all, you should watch it because it's worth your hour and a half or whatever.
Did you watch Your Friends and Neighbors yet?
Peripherally, like I watched it with Ashley while she had it on, and it was good. It was good.
Yeah.
It was entertaining. Like it had me looking up, and like it's got my boy John Hamm, of course, and Amanda Peet. We all stand for Amanda Peet.
Big facts.
But I kind of called the twist of
what was going
like
to happen.
The who done it or whatever.
And Olivia Munn, come on.
Oh, Olivia of course. Munn. Like, listen, all-time legend. Your girl from the newsroom.
Heavy in the streets, like the 7 Series Beamer, man.
So yeah, I recommend. I will put out the recommendation for Mountain Head again. We're in the summer season. If you're looking for something to kill a couple hours on a Tuesday night, Wednesday night, like you could do worse.
I unfortunately watched the show Sirens. That was not.
Is that the Julianne Moore one?
Yeah, Julianne Moore.
That one was also on in the house, and that one was.
That gets that's a straight background watch as well.
It's not one of my faves. Not one of my faves.
No,
better than Ginny in Georgia, though. I will tell you that.
Can't say that I've gotten there yet. Have not gotten there yet.
Pretty weak. Got Ginny in Georgia.
Hey, well, we're here though. We're into. I'm just on my Mets and Jays every night, So
listen, is that the second place New York Mets?
Yes. Big win last night, though. Big win last night.
Do we have another team? Do we have another team meeting?
No.
New York. No,
just a big win. Just a big win. Big win last night.
All right. Sounds good. I mean, you got to chase down. The red.
Tons of time, man. We all know the season doesn't really start till like August, anyways. So.
Right. Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. Listen, Big J's win last night to move into the. But seriously, like I fired up Twitter 2 hours after the game, and it's a parade.
Yeah,
it's a parade. It's July 3rd, and you're tied at the top of the division.
The problem, though, the one thing I will say that if I am a Jays fan that is irrationally happy about what's going on right now. Feeding, because I am a Jays fan, but you know what I'm saying? Like if I am buying into the Kool-Aid that's flowing right now, and it's flowing. The one thing that adds to it is just watching the Yankees. The Yankees are not good.
No,
and like the Yankees make like a lot of dumb mistakes and dumb errors, and like just like they shoot themselves in the foot all the time. And I think that's, if I'm a Jays fan, it's like, well, we're not them. Right? Like we're not making those errors. Our offense might go into a slump or something, but like the Yankees just make terrible errors. Jazz Chisholm trying to play third base is a gong show, which
you're definitely more afraid of the Rays. The Rays are a better team than the Yankees.
The Rays are doing themselves, right?
But no, the Rays are the Rays every year. Who is this team?
Yeah.
But you know what? They're a half game back, and they rake, and they get great pitching, and they're very well coached.
Yeah.
That is like the complete opposite of the Yankees, who everybody on their team. The manager's terrible.
Yeah.
They're trash other than one guy.
Yeah.
And I would not be afraid of the Yankees either.
Yeah, just never pitch to Aaron Judge. And it's like, John Schneider, what are you doing last night pitching to Aaron Judge in the 8th inning of a 2-run game? Like, what are you doing? Why are you pitching to him? There's no need to do that.
I really don't think that the Jays are going to go anywhere with Schneider as their manager. He is not a winning baseball manager. And Jays fans have known this, whether they want to admit it or not. They've known this for 3 years. This team will not get over the hump with him they just won't.
Here's what I'll say. I think that what's most important, and I'm tiptoeing around how I'm saying this, but I believe what's most important is just that you're happy to be here. Come September, you're in the race, building's packed, building's rocking. Hey, maybe you make it into the wild card, you get a home playoff game or something, I think happy to be here time for the Jays in a season where at the start of it, people were not happy at all. That's a dub, right? That's a dub.
Absolutely.
No matter how we want to look at it, that's a dub. Considering what people's thoughts were going into the season, that building is rocking all year, which it was. Canada Day looked like a movie. Hey, everybody wins. The last thing I'll say on the way out here, as we turn this Canada Hoops Daily pod into a TV review and then a cross section of all sports, I'd just like to say, go bleep yourself, Mitch Marner.
Yeah, not about that smoke, hey, Mitch? But here's the one thing I will say that I don't know if it was our boy Bunkus, but somebody out there put it like, this is as bad as Vince Carter. Let's pump our brakes on that.
Yeah, it's not as bad
as Vince Carter.
No.
Now, if you go to a Vegas game, will you boo Mitch?
Would I boo? I'm not a big like booer, to be honest. Like I'm a grown ass man. I don't know if I'm like going 40. To a sporting event and like booing.
I would boo.
No. Yeah. But I'm thinking in general. Like I don't know what I'm going to like. I think I'd more boo someone ironically, like jokingly, more so than like actually go to a game to boo Mitch Marner. But what I will say about Mitch Marner. No, it's not close to Vince Carter, right? Like we forget like what was happening in the Vince Carter years. Like there were years of injuries with Vince Carter that then led to
I'm not going to dunk anymore.
Yeah, like there were years of just like him not playing well, then the not dunking stuff, then the pouting, the sulking, the team's making a crazy run to get into the playoffs and Vince is still not coming back to play. Like we forgot about that. And maybe he could have, maybe he was really hurt. Maybe he was really, really hurt. Cool. But like the team made the playoffs without him. And like that didn't look good. There was a lot there. Then there was a trade demand. And then instantly he starts his points per game average goes up 12 points, right? Like there's a lot there with Vince Carter. And then saying he didn't always try his hardest in the interview with John Thompson after. Like there's a lot there. Mitch Marner is not close to Vince Carter. But what I will say, to me, what Vince Carter is what Mitch Marner is close to, he's close to Kevin Durant leaving OKC to go to Golden State. And what I mean by that is when you go back, you remember that Kevin Durant was making plans with Draymond a year in advance, or at least half a year in advance, talking about, was it at the Super Bowl? Because I think if I remember this correctly, the Super Bowl might have been in San Francisco, if I remember that year. And then there was a story that KD was like, remember KD was like the photographer at the Super Bowl, whatever. And then that was when the rumors popped up that he was meeting with Draymond. They were talking about what it was like playing in the Bay and what that could be like. And then magically, you'll never be able to convince me that the playoffs roll around, you're playing on this team, but in the back of your mind, you already got one foot out the door because you're already thinking about what happens if you leave. And now we equate that to Mitch Marner. And Mitch Marner told us, out of his own words, hey, at the Four Nations face-off, my wife and I were talking to some of the Vegas players about what it's like living in Vegas. And now that's the same dude that went out and no-showed in the playoffs again and then tried to yell at his team in the third period when they were down how much? Not sweating at all.
Not sweating at all. Yeah.
But like yelling at his team, come on, guys, let's go. Well, he was like, let's go, all right. Let's go to Vegas.
Yeah.
I just like to say that was also the wackest like intro. He's like in the office with like their 20 staff.
I know, he's in like the ticket office.
I was like, what is this, bro? What is this? This is what you left. You left the center of the hockey universe. You left riding shotgun with Austin Matthews, who scored 69 goals like 2 years ago. Like you left that and your hometown to go play in Vegas. I wrote this on Twitter, but like you're leaving to go play in Vegas to be less popular than Carrot Top, bro. Miss me with that. Get out of here. Get out of here.
Then Chris Angel mind freak. Hey, you know who does want to be in Toronto? Matty Nice. Matty Nice wants to be in
let's
Toronto.
Go. Right?
Yeah. He's down
Matthew
for the
Nice
smoke, that guy.
He signs for less. Johnny T signs for less. We saw what all the Florida guys did. They all signed for less to stay. Mitch is like, you know what? I'm going to Vegas. Give me 12 mil. What? Like, I don't know. I don't understand. But I will say it makes me think about Austin's comments that we had a lot of passengers. I don't know if I've heard anything from Austin saying, hey, Mitch, wish you luck, bud. No, I haven't seen an Instagram post from any of the Leafs saying anything about like, hey, great job, Mitch. You know, we're happy for you. Good luck, Mitch. I've seen none of that. But I will always think about who are the passengers. I think that's a good way to end.
Yeah.
As I've been a good passenger on this ride with you today, you know?
Thank you for letting me be your passenger on Canada Hoops Daily.
Great times at all, as always. And who knows what you're going to get when you tune into the Canada Hoops Daily Pod. Who knows what you're going to get. We got you with a little bit of everything there. Lots going on.
I'm going to see F1 on the weekend with my pops. So I'll have a little review there.
All right. Appreciate that. Appreciate that for sure. Hopefully there'll be more basketball news to talk about. We know Summer League kicks off shortly. For sure. So there'll be some Cooper Flag noise, I'm sure, in the one or two games that he'll play.
Noise.
Yeah. Lots to talk about for sure all summer long. We'll be here to break it all down, of course. So remember to stay tuned to the Canada Hoops Daily content pages, which is on Instagram at Canada Hoops Daily, at Can Hoops Daily on Twitter, or just follow me on socials at Sheldon Alexander on Instagram, at Shell Alexander on the app formerly known as Twitter. And of course, you can find the podcast on Apple, Spotify, and of course, YouTube. Just search Canada Hoops Daily. Of course, my man, Andrew Webster at AWebster84. Hit him up, chirp him about Joel Embiid, chirp him about the Birds, maybe mix in a Go Mets, you know, whatever you want. Hit him up. Hit him up. Because as I always say, I used to pray for times like this to rhyme like this. This is Canada Hoops Daily Podcast, as always, unpolished and unapologetic. Until next time, see ya.